days. Which word of the day is fledgling? Adjective or noun, I guess, either one. But a fledgling witch is a term for a beginner, novice, or newcomer to the craft who possesses the necessary tools and is actively experimenting to learn their use. Unlike the often criticized term baby witch, which can feel infantilizing. There we go. I had to look at that again. Fledgling emphasizes a new, enthusiastic practitioner who is learning and growing. Fledgling.
Nice.
You haven't even read that?
Wait, what are you doing with the book?
So he has the confidence to finish the story.
Hear now the words of the witches.
Can you hear the words of the witches? Yeah, the words of the witches.
Welcome to Words of the Witches, the Charmed podcast that will guide you through the lesser-known published lore of the Charmed universe.
In this night and in this hour, we call upon our fanboy power, bringing education and stupefaction to all of you.
Together, we will use our knowledge and reverence abundantly, but also find ourselves sassy and delightful.
Which is why we will truly be charmed.
All right, Spellers. Well, welcome to Words of the Witches, episode 170. I am Kevin, your resident Charmed resource.
And I am Sean, and I am a fledgling witch who Kevin infantilizes.
That sounds naughty.
It does, doesn't it? Spank me.
I'm gonna be the first time I've been called daddy. That's all I gotta say.
Oh.
All right. So cool. This should be another pretty easy episode. But before we get into what we're doing, I did want to go over the poll that I proposed last episode. It was, which Charmed actor, living or not, would you like to meet? You said Rose McGowan, which is super obvious. I love it.
Super happy.
And I said James Reed, even though I'd love to meet Shannon Doherty again. It's funny because every time I met Shannon Doherty 3 times in 3 months. And we had really great conversations, but I was always so nervous around her. I didn't of all the people, I've been nervous around all of them at one point, but I feel like I was most nervous around her the most because I know how committed and dedicated she is, and I didn't want to give the wrong impression.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it worked out. Yeah, she really embraced my mom's story, and then when I told her how much Prue meant to me, which is really good. But I got really scared when I told her about the podcast, and I said, "Oh, we're covering the comics," and she's like, "Oh, that thing that I rejected." I'm like, "Oh, sorry."
You made her mad.
I'm not. I know. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna talk about the comics anymore. Okay, fine. So, but we did get a lot of responses to this question. So on YouTube, it says, if Eric only knew. That's what it says. I'm like, what is this? So if Eric only knew, it says, Rose McGowan, I love her so much. Ryan Appleton 3653 says, Rose McGowan, Finola Hughes, Chris McCarpenter, Dorian Gregory, Ivan Sergey, Antonio Sabato Jr. just for his 2 appearances in season 2 alone. He's yummy.
So everybody.
Yeah. Comrade Mime says, my Queen Holly Marie. I hope one day I can take my mom to a convention so we can meet her at the same time. Tears. And Cone Feely 4731 says, any of the 4 sisters plus Kaylee Cuoco. On Instagram, we got a lot, so I might not go over them all, but Cryptid of Siberia, he makes a lot of really great art for Book of Shadows, original Book of Shadows pages, so he's a cool response. It says Rose and Leslie Grossman.
Oh.
Who would have thought Leslie Grossman?
Yeah.
She was in 2 episodes.
She's funny.
Tom Starr, who made the videos for the Book of Shadows Con, says Julian McMahon, Billy Zane, Debbie Morgan, and Victor Webster. Very nice. I've met all of those except for Debbie Morgan. I love Legion Ivory. He says, as crazy as it might sound coming from me, Rose McGowan. I got a lot of Shannon. J3 Alliance says, Shannon, to be honest, she cared most about the show. I can see that. Yeah. Dylan SVR says Jennifer and Finola. Jurio89 says Grams, Patty, and Melinda. Darren Scranton says Neighbor Dan. So, yeah. Kirkin77 says Shannon. I wish I could tell her how her portrayal of Prue sculpted me as a child/teenager back then. Aww.
Aw.
There's some Alyssa. Okay, so yeah, fun responses. I have one piece of manner keeping.
One Piece. I love that show.
One piece.
You can't just vanquish an entire house, especially not our house. People are gonna notice.
Manner keeping.
Well, the problem isn't the manner. It's the manner in which it was treated.
A good witch is a clean witch.
So, do you remember? I actually made a clip of this when I make the previews for the episode. Last episode when we covered the 415 fanzines, in the first issue, it says Roger Ashford, and it was stated to be Roger's full name, Roger Ashford. However, in the show, we are never actually given his full name. He never has a last name in the show. And Jay Wong is the one that pointed that out to me. I'm like, yeah, you're right. He never had a last name. And I mentioned that in previous episodes, and I'm just like, went with it. Jay Wong is a big supporter of this podcast, and I actually met him at Book of Shadows Con, which was really fun. But it looked like Agent Peggy Carter gave him the same last name as his actor. Matthew Ashford was the actor. And so she put Roger Ashford as his name.
Okay, just to make it seem more real, like he has a last name rather than just
Exactly,
Roger.
exactly. Right, because you can't very well put just Roger in a magazine that's supposed to be like official. Like they can be like, he has this whole display. Like his name's just Roger.
Yeah.
Just Roger. Just Roger. Yeah. Go home, Roger. So I just wanted to point that out because, yeah, it's very good to know and make people aware that he does not have a last name. So are you ready to go over this fanzine today?
Sure.
Fanzine? So this is called The Power of Three, a Charmed Fanzine, Season 1. So it's pretty much all about Season 1. Author is Billy McCall. There's no published date in here, so I was guessing on the published date. I went to his blog, and the last update of the blog was 2018. So I'm guessing this was somewhere 2017, 2018, because he hasn't updated since 2018.
Okay.
So I don't know for sure. If you count the front cover and the back cover, it is 20 pages long. And yeah, we'll just read it to you guys and see how it goes. I love how the front cover, it's a season 1 picture, but it says ridiculous. It's like super random.
What a bitchy straight.
Description of the show, synopsis of every episode, 3 sisters saving the world, ridiculous.
Love it.
So, kick us off with our introduction, Sean.
As a middle-aged dude, 44 years old, there are a lot of details about my life that a younger me would have never guessed might happen. Same. For example, I have a gym membership. I only go twice a week, but I've been going now for over a year and can't deny that the experience has been a positive one for me. My typical routine is to run on the treadmill for a while, do a couple of machines, and then get out of there. Well, in front of the treadmills are a line of tivoirs, each set to a different station. One of these stations is TNT, which shows reruns of the show Charmed. I happened to watch an episode by accident, by accident, Kevin, one morning.
I mean, they are all over the gym.
They
are. It's funny.
While running on the
Accident.
treadmill, watching amateur-looking 90s CGI while I ran really helped the time go by. Little by little, I started going to the TNT treadmill on purpose so I could watch Charmed while running. For those who don't know, Charmed is a drama about 3 sexy witches living in San Francisco. The show is made and takes place in the late 1990s. Sort of. I never watched the show when it originally aired, so watching the show with no sound while at the gym was my first exposure. But over the course of weeks and months, I began to have a real fondness for the program. After a year of watching 10-minute segments of this soundless show, guess what? I found every single season of Charmed on DVD at a thrift store. Only $1 a season. I looked at my partner,
Damn.
AJ, and she shook her head yes with such enthusiasm that I knew there was no other choice. I bought them all. See, I emphasize the she and her so we all know this is a straight man.
Straight man. Yeah.
Yep. And me being me, now I have no choice but to turn a slight interest into a complete obsession, and then to share that seemingly random obsession with the rest of the world by making a zine to document my experience. So thank you for reading this. A zine dedicated to an obscure 90s television drama. Enjoy, Billy. Billy.
What an introduction.
I know. At least, like, he's
I think that is
like
so fun. Yeah. This first time I read through this once before, and it was just a hoot getting his like real time reactions, and so I'm excited to go over this with you. You can email him at iknowbilly@gmail.com. Apparently, I don't know if that's still active or not. This is kind of an older zine. All right, so what is Charmed? He kind of lays it out there. This is going to be stuff we already know, but I'll read it to you anyway. Charmed is a fantasy drama that aired on the WB network in America from 1998 to 2006. It was created by Constance Embridge and produced by Aaron Spelling. The story centers around three young sisters who suddenly discover they come from a long line of witches. A catalyst event in their mid-20s suddenly activates their powers. In the beginning episodes, the three sisters are played by Shannon Doherty, Holly Marie Combs, and Alyssa Milano. At some point, Shannon leaves and is replaced by Rose McGowan, but I don't know when, and I don't want to know. The sisters' names are Prue, Piper, and Phoebe. The story takes place in San Francisco. Its first episode had over 7 million viewers, a new record for the up-and-coming WB network. The show ran for 8 seasons with 179 episods.
He's so bitchy.
He's so bitchy. He's like, I don't want to know. Don't tell me. Don't spoil
Don't
it.
talk to me. I don't want to know.
And I love they put 179 episodes. That's including the unaired pilot. So if he went to any other official thing, they'd only say 178 because the unaired pilot's not always included in that. But he's included the unaired pilot in that.
So he's more into it than he's letting us know because he knew that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, there are 3 powers. Each sister has her own special power. They didn't ask for these powers, they just suddenly appeared. In the beginning, they used their powers almost by accidente. Gradually, they began to use the powers on purpose. Then, with more and more intention, and by the end of the season, they are really showing a lot of control. It's cool to see their skill levels increase. Oh, and by the way, if you kill a witch, then you gain their powers. This is the main reason that warlocks and demons are constantly trying to kill them. So let's discuss the power of each sister. Prue. He gave her like the most constipated looking photo. Like out of all pictures of her, he chose that one.
Yeah. He's trying to do her squinting. I get
know.
it. But
She's just really trying hard to get it out. The oldest sister, Prue, has the most active power, which is the power of telekinesis. That's right, she can move things with her mind. In the beginning, this is triggered accidentally anytime she becomes angry. She might be arguing with a boyfriend or one of her sisters, and suddenly a lamp flies across the room, or a stack of papers falls off the desk. Little by little, she learns that she can summon a bit of anger and then chose what to move. She does this by squinting. She'll narrow her eyes and squint at something, and then that something will fly across the room. This is repeatedly helpful when fighting bad guys, criminals, or demons. It's easy to be angry at a demon who's trying to kill you, so Prue would squint at him, and he'd fly into a wall and die or something. The other sisters, especially Phoebe, are often jealous of Prue's power, and the demons and warlocks often consider Prue to be the most powerful. Die or something.
It's so good. Piper, the middle sister, has the power to freeze time. Again, this is something that initially happens by accident. The emotion for which triggers this ability is startled fear. For example, a vase might fall off a shelf and startle her, causing her to flinch or jump, and that's when time freezes. The vase is mid-air and she can reach over and catch it. Then time resumes. Sometimes a person, good or bad, might startle her and they will suddenly become frozen. This is really good when an evildoer is about to grab her by the pussy. She gets scared. The demon freezes. She runs away. Little by little, she learns to control her power and can then freeze time on purpose. She does this by thrusting her hands towards the object or person she wants to freeze, almost like a little kid pretending to do magic. This power gets her out of some tight jams and saves her life over and over, but she also uses it in very casual situations when she just needs a moment to think. For example, a very nice man might ask her a question while they are out to dinner, and she'll freeze him just to think about how she wants to answer. It seems like a total abuse of power, but I guess she has unlimited freezes, so why not chill out and take things slow? In the beginning, she never knew when the frozen time would resume, but little by little, she learns how to start and stop time at her leisure. Oh, and that time only freezes in the room she is in, and it freezes everyone except her sisters, and occasionally demons with enough power.
Okay, pretty straightforward so far. So far, Prue has like the shortest blurb about her.
Yeah.
Febois. Febois is the youngest sister. Alright. The youngest sister has the power of premonition. She can see into the future. As with the other sister, she doesn't know how or why this is happening. Sometimes she picks up an object, then a rush of images and emotions flood her mind. It's really useful, but also completely interferes with her life. Like, she'll be smiling and having a great day, and she'll pick up a photo on the table, then suddenly have a vision of how that person is going to die. Well, you can't just go about your day after that. I love this man. Take my virginity.
Right?
You have to find the person and prevent the death. One guy she saw die was a total stranger, and she kept telling him not to leave his hotel or he'd get hit by a car. He didn't even believe her because, duh, she seems crazy. And in the end, she ended up chasing him and pushing him out of the way of a car. She totally saved him, and he still didn't seem that thankful. Of the three, her power is the most passive, happening almost always by accident and when she isn't expecting it. But little by little, she learns how to bring about the premonitions, the way a psychic might, but intentionally handling personal objects to pick up stray cosmic information. By the end of season 1, she's even able to see into the past sometimes. Her triggering emotion is love, which makes sense and comes about naturally for her, as her character is sort of a free spirit whore, new age hippie type who is full of love for everyone around her. Not the case with the other two sisters.
So that's a little bit of a canonical thing because they never actually say what her trigger is. It's not love. That's more of a Leo thing. I would think her power is just curiosity or openness, or just enthusiasm, because that seems to make the most sense.
Okay.
All right, so this is our season 1 episode analysis. Our first, he kind of scatters this throughout the issue, so we'll get this intermittently. That's the word. So he says, I could probably do a different zine about each episode, but I won't subject you to that. But here is a brief synopsis of each episode from season 1, interspersed with other tidbits about the show. Episode 1. The three sisters are reunited in their grandmother's haunted house. Prue and Phoebe don't get along, and it's up to Pepper to play the middle child peacemaker. Suddenly, there are witches! The activation of the power sends out a signal to all the demons, so on top of all their sisterly drama, from now on will be fighting off evil. Episode 2. Phoebe uses her power of seeing the future as a way to win the lottery. Then the numbers on her ticket disappear, and we learn that some unknown powerful force won't allow them to use their powers for personal gain. This is a great way for the writers to explain why all three women have to maintain regular jobs throughout the series. But I would argue that even if you are using your powers to kill a demon, that is still a form of personal gain, but whatever. Episode 3. Their long-lost father returns to pay them a visit. As if that's not emotionally confusing enough, 3 shape-shifting demons move in next door and try to befriend the sisters. We think for a while that their father might be a demon, and everyone keeps morphing into other people, so no one knows what is going on. It's a real mess.
All right, so initial reaction. Having previously only watched snippets of episodes without sound and out of order, I really only had a very vague idea of what the show was about. The first episode was a total education for me. My first big surprise was to learn that Shannon's character Prue was the oldest sister, and therefore the responsible one. My only other knowledge of Shannon Doherty is that she was on Beverly Hills 90210, and as a teenage star, she led a wild and dysfunctional Hollywood lifestyle. I don't really know, but that was her reputation in my mind. So to find out that in this show she is the character who shows restraint came as quite a surprise. The next big surprise was to learn that they are all sisters. Well, not really a surprise, but at least like some confirmation. They might have been three friends or two sisters with a friend. Maybe they were all lesbian lovers, though that seemed unlikely. But yes, sisters. I had suspected as much, but never knew for sure. And guess what? The character of Phoebe, played by Alyssa Milano, is the young slutty one. Just as my assumptions about Shannon Doherty got flipped, so did my assumptions about Alyssa. In my mind, she was the sweet, innocent girl from Who's the Boss. Nope, not anymore. Phoebe is wild and crazy and sleeps around every episode. My guess is that Shannon and Alyssa both wanted to intentionally flip their reputations and take on new personas. The interactions and
He was
growth.
wrong,
I
assumption,
know,
but that's
he's
okay.
wrong. The
Yeah.
interactions and growth of relationship between the three sisters is an ongoing and ever-evolving story arc. Prue is the responsible and logical one. Phoebe is the impulsive and fun sister, and Piper, being the middle child, is somewhere in the middle of these two personalities. The three sisters bicker and fight, but little by little they grow closer to one another. That is funny that he went from Who's the Boss and skipped Melrose Place or any of the movies that she did
Mhm.
in between.
Yeah. So, you know. Continuing our episode analysis, episode 4. The sisters save the soul of a murdered innocent man played by John Cho. John Cho, of course, went on to be in some Star Trek movies, as well as Harold and Kumar. Piper, who already slept with a demon, freaking falls in love with a ghost. Sheesh, come on, Piper, it's never gonna work. Episode 5. Some creeper dude is invading the demons of women and killing them. This works fine on a regular human woman, but when he tries it against Prue, she is able to fight him off with her witch powers. A real Freddy Krueger vibe. They never quite show it, but the dude is definitely dream raping these women before he kills them.
Oh.
This episode is important because it's the first episode where their weekly evil is not some paranormal demon or spirit. It's just some creepy scientist who is doing experiments that allows him to invade other people's subconscious. He doesn't even know Prue is a witch until she eventually defeats him. Episode 6. An evil female demon is forcing a young man to marry her so she can produce more evil offspring. Piper, who is a cook and a chef, just happens to be hired to cater the wedding. They figure out she's evil and they vanquish her. One of the rare instances when they are fighting a female demon. Episode 7. A cool, troubled teen contacts evil spirits who convince her to kill the Halliwell sisters. Again, female evildoers, which is rare. But the teen was being manipulated, and the sisters figure out the real evil and go after her instead of the teen. Episode 8. Prue casts a spell that forces everyone in the episode to tell the truth for 24 hours, with hilarious results. The catch is that no one other than the sisters will remember it the next day. This allows Prue to confess to her boyfriend that she's a witch in order to gauge his reaction. His reaction is to break up with her, which is a tough pill to swallow. By the way, her boyfriend is also the lead detective in San Francisco. And every week he is the one to investigate all of the mysterious murders around town that Prue just happens to be connected to. It's like this whole thing.
Opening credits. Every episode has the same sort of setup where some intense scene happens and we go, oh, damn, that's what they have to fight this week? Then the opening credits start to roll, which is 2 minutes of San Francisco B-roll while a song by... canonical. While a song by the Smiths plays. That's somewhat correct because the Smiths originated the song, but this is not their version.
Yeah.
The song is How Soon Is Now, but it isn't the Smiths version. So, spell worders. This is my first time going through this with Kevin, so you're getting like my very first take on everything, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
The The first couple times I heard it, I felt like it was familiar, but I couldn't quite place it. It was my partner AJ who said, OMG, is this the Smiths? It's some band called Love Spit Love doing a Smiths cover, and it's ridiculous. But every single episode follows the same dumb pattern. After the opening scene and the opening credits with the Smiths cover, which is always the same. What? That's what theme songs are. They're the same.
It's a theme song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We now double back for more San Francisco B-roll, fresh B-roll that is different every episode. And each week there's some absolutely terrible 90s alternative song playing. Bands that all thought they had really made it by getting their song into an episode of Charmed. Usually these songs will have some horrible lyrics that might loosely relate to what the episode is going to be about. Did she just sing something about feeling trapped? I bet one of the sisters gets trapped in this episode. So bitchy.
It's so bitchy. And it's weird he's complaining about the actual music. He's watching the DVD, so this is the real music.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he was watching the streaming music? Oh my god.
I know.
I love the music in the episodes, so just saying.
It was
Feels
kinda
so
funny
90s and
'cause,
amazing.
I've shared with you, but I've been finally kind of going through the House of Hollywood pods,
Yes.
and like I feel like Holly didn't even know that they didn't license music for the streaming because she's like, oh, they play this horrible song, and I'm like, yeah, not on the DVDs, Holly.
Right. It's so funny. Yeah. All right. Episode 9. An evil spirit from the 1600s is released from an enchanted locket and tries to kill the sisters. They cast a spell to resurrect their relative, Melinda Warren, who was the very first witch in their family line. Melinda gives us tons of info about being a witch, then they trap the evil guy back in the locket. Episode 10. All 3 sisters maintain regular jobs while also fighting evil. We learn that Prue's boss is actually a secret warlock trying to kill the 3 sisters. Don't worry, they defeat him and his assistant. Prue manages to not get fired even though both of her bosses die. Episode 11. One of Phoebe's shitty ex-boyfriends comes to town after stealing some ancient Egyptian artifact. The artifact is cursed, and people keep dying, and the sisters have to not only defeat the curse, but also convince Phoebe to stop dating shitty guys. Girl power!
That's how that turns out.
Yeah. Episode 12. Piper gets turned into a werewolf. This episode is creepy. It's a great episode because Prue and Piper have to work together to save Piper, so it's a chance for the oldest and youngest sisters who don't usually get along very well to have some good bonding time.
I thought it was funny because I just listened to the episode today and Drew Fuller keeps calling it a Wendigo.
Yeah. Maybe the Wendigo ate your baby.
Wendigo! And then I learned along with Holly that like the right way to spell Wendigo is actually WIND, not WEND. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you can spell it either way, but I guess WI is like the more like older version.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the power of 3. We all know that 3 is the magic number, but that has never been more true than in Charmed. At the very beginning of the show, we have 2 sisters, Prue and Piper, living together in San Francisco in a big 3-story house that their deceased grandmother left them. Where are the parents? Not clear. We've barely established which sister is which. Or shall I say, which sister is which? I see what he did there. When Piper says, oh yeah, by the way, our third sister, the one you hate, is coming here to stay with us. Prue is outraged. And then knock, knock, knock. Who is it? Oh, it's that third sister, the bitch, Phoebe. So now we have 3 sisters whose names all start with the letter P, and it doesn't matter whether or not they get along. There are 3 of them, which somehow magically triggers their powers. They learn that they are the Charmed Ones, the most powerful group of good witches that the world has ever known. A story which has been foretold in countless ancient texts.
Each sister has their own unique power, and each sister is able to look up spells out of the mysterious Book of Shadows. But the real power comes when they work together. In fact, the way they vanquish their first demon is by chanting, "The power of 3 will set us free. The power of 3 will set us free." This becomes such a common theme that throughout the course of the season, various demons try to single out different sisters to fight one-on-one, because they all know that if they can kill or defeat one sister, then the other two will fall so much more easily. I love this theme of the power of three because it's also a general metaphor for concepts of unity and solidarity, friends and family. It's the same vibe that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles always give, or Voltron, or the Power Rangers. Together, we are stronger!
Yeah, he's straight. All right.
Maybe he's bi. Maybe he's
Yeah,
bi.
that's true. There's a little bi in there. Which, by
Yeah.
the way, I told you last week I've been reading the Iliad, which it totally fooled me
Yes.
because it said it was only like 200 pages. So I'm like, oh, that'll take me a week. Every 3 pages counts as 1 page. So it's really like 600 pages. It's taking me forever
Oh
to
my
get
God.
through. But I also started watching Troy, The Fall of a City on Netflix. And there's this scene I thought of you because it's Achilles and he's with his wife and he's also with his boyfriend. And there's this little like bisexual love scene. It was hot. It's hot.
Oh my gosh. I love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
And they're
That was
like,
the way back then. Everybody was bisexual.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like him and his boyfriend are played by like these beautiful like black like gorgeous men, and the woman is
my
like
gosh.
gorgeous too. It was hot. It's hot.
Find me that scene. I'll watch it.
All right. All right, let's see. Episode 13. Oh, okay. He's starting with OMG, bisexual. OMG. There's this actor named Billy Drago, and he is so weird. He plays John Bly in the TV show Briscoe County Jr. Great show, if you've ever seen that. In this episode of Charmed, he plays a demon who comes back to Earth every 1,300 years at midnight on a Friday the 13th. He is such a weird actor and plays weird demons, and it is very easy to pretend that this demon is just John Bly crossing over to another show, which is what me and my partner did while watching. Great episode. Episode 14. A young boy with special witch powers is kidnapped by criminals who want to use his telepathy to rob a business. The boy contacts the sisters who save him. Good story. But also, in this episode, we learn more about Leo, who is someone Piper dated early on in the show. She's already dated a demon and a ghost, and it turns out that Leo is a white lighter, which is basically a guardian angel. Phoebe learns this, but Piper doesn't, which is awkward. Why can't Piper just date a human for once? Episode 15. The sisters learn that the evil monster in the basement that they were always afraid of as kids is actually real, and then they have to defeat it. Episode 16. Prue casts a spell to create 2 more copies of herself in order to fight a demon. Now there are 3 Shannon Dohertys running around, and I couldn't be more pleased. This episode rules.
Fun. Then we have The Power of Feminism. Charmed is a real girl power story in a variety of obvious ways, as well as other, more subtle ways. To start off, the 3 main characters are all women. There are plenty of men in the show, but they are all supporting roles. Name one other show from the 90s that had all women as the main characters. The only one I can think of is Sex and the City, but every plot in Charmed centers around the women. The Charmed ones deal with a lot of basic problems that anyone might have to deal with, but they also deal with very women-specific problems. There are constantly men who are trying to take advantage of them, whether that means rape and harassment or lesser offenses, such as shitty boyfriends or mansplaining, and these 3 sisters always figure out how to put the men in their place. They're always one step ahead of those around them. Also, it's explained early on that people who use magic for good are called witches, while people who use magic for evil are called warlocks. Gender is never directly discussed, but we soon start to notice. That's another canonical thing, because she does mention gender. She says regardless of gender in the first episode. But we soon start to notice that all the witches are women and all the warlocks are men. That's not quite true, but okay. This show is literally about good women fighting off evil men. Sometimes the men are just regular humans trying to kill people, and sometimes these men are immortal interdimensional warlocks from 3,000 years ago, but 9 times out of 10, it's a man! I've never taken any classes on feminism, and I'm no expert, but I can just imagine how cool it must have been for a young girl to watch the show on the WB back in 1999. There was one episode where a family moves in next door, an uncle and his niece. See, now he's talking about season 2, even though it's supposed to be about season 1. The distraught niece is sitting on the porch. When Phoebe talks to her, the girl admits that her uncle bought her the wrong tampons. Phoebe sits down and gives her a great woman-to-woman talk and totally helps out the situation. That one simple scene is a moment of cultural revolution, helping to destigmatize a social taboo. Girl power, I tells ya.
I know, and it's crazy that that came out in like 2000, but then we have Red, and that like caused such a big uproar.
Turning Red?
Turning Red,
Yeah.
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 That's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm trying to think I'm trying to think of female warlocks. There was Hannah in season 1, and there's Jane in season 2. You could maybe count Robin as Witch Duck, the evil witch. But even then, like, we had male witches too, like Max in the season 1, the boy was a witch, and we have Wyatt and Chris and stuff, obviously. So yeah. Thanks.
Episode 17. The sisters travel back in time to 1970 to defeat a time traveling demon. Old clothes and old cars, which is stupid, but what's the word after but?
Fun.
But fun. Okay. There's a glare on the picture. We get to meet their
yeah.
mom and their grandma, which is also cool. Episode 18. They meet.
So that's canonical.
Oh yeah, they don't meet.
They go to 1975, not 1970.
Episode 18. They meet an evil warlock who doesn't want to be evil, so they help him become a priest. Well, mostly it is Prue who helps him. The secondary plot of the episode was Phoebe trying to help Piper on a date, which is also very important, right? Yes, very. Episode 19. A boy gets kidnapped by a Grimlock, which is some monster living in the sewers that no one knows about. This is the first episode where Prue's on-again, off-again boyfriend finally learns the sisters are all witches. They go down in the sewers and kill the monster, saving 2 kidnapped boys. And we get a picture of the Grimlocks. Grimlocks are demons with white skin and red eyes who feed off the energy auras of good people. They can see these auras by stealing the eyesight of children. Gnarly. Episode 20. Piper goes on vacation, so when a ghost from Alcatraz starts killing people, it is up to Prue and Phoebe to set aside their differences to defeat him. Now that Andy, Prue's ex and San Fran's lead detective, knows that the sisters are witches, all of them can work together. Hey, look at the ultraviolet ghost fingerprints on this knife. Can you two help me track down a ghost that is killing people?
Next we have The Book of Shadows. In the show Charmed, there was a mystical book called The Book of Shadows. This book was just some dusty old thing that was always been up in their attic. Well, one night at midnight, when there was a full moon, Phoebe just happened to be in the attic and was flipping through this book. She just happened to be there. The door didn't just unlock itself, She casually reads a spell from the book, and boom! It activates the power of these 3 sisters. Now, when I did my Wikipedia research for this zine, I learned that the concept of a Book of Shadows is very central to the Wiccan religion. My apologies to all the practicing witches out there for not knowing this, but the leader of any particular coven will often start their own Book of Shadows to pass down and share with others. This book is usually just a collection of any information, spells, recipes, or anything that they deem to be important. The Book of Shadows in Charmed was started by Melinda Warren, a long-lost relative who was burned at the stake at the Salem witch trials. Somehow they never found her book, I guess. The book has all sorts of useful information about once an episode they run up to the attic to consult the book, which will tell them exactly how to solve this week's problem. The book itself is enchanted, and when demons try to steal it, they can't remove it from the house. Anyone can add to the book, and eventually the sisters add their own info to this 300-year-old family tradition. The prop of the book is pretty amazing. It's huge, heavy, and thick, and weighed almost 10 pounds in real life.
Oh.
You can tell that some prop master somewhere hand-painted each and every page, with cool illustrations and beautiful calligraphy. Seriously, one of the coolest TV props of all time.
Yeah. Episode 21. Piper learns that her one true love, Leo, is a white lighter. She learns this as they help him defeat a dark lighter, an evil angel. I guess white lighters aren't supposed to fall in love, so even though the two of them love each other, they can never be together. Although from watching a mix of soundless episodes while working out at the gym, I'm pretty sure they end up together at some point. Very astute. Episode 22. The Charmed ones have to fight a demon named Tempest, who can rewind time. It turns into this real Groundhog Day situation where they are reliving the same day over and over as the demon gets closer and closer to defeating them. Tempest is played by David Carradine, who has been in tons of TV shows and movies. Only Phoebe, with her power to see into the past and future, is able to feel that something isn't right, and she eventually figures out how to stop the madness. This is the season finale, and the big bummer is that Andy, Prue's ex-boyfriend, ends up getting killed, even though Prue repeatedly tells him to stay away from their house. I hope he somehow comes back in future seasons as a ghost or angel or something. It's actually really heartbreaking when he dies and made me really sad.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And it never happens, but it's nice that we now know that he was offered to come back. So that's kind of cool. Then we have in conclusion. Hey, if this show made 25 years ago and originally geared towards teens has taught me anything, is that we can't choose who we love. I didn't mean to become obsessed with Charmed, but here we are. Is it good? No, not really, but it's good for what it is. A fairly lighthearted drama that mixes family disputes and daily troubles with a bit of fantasy and heroism. Watching them work on their sisterly relations while teaming up to fight demons is sort of heartwarming. Watching their boss yell at one of them for arriving late to work after literally saving someone's life the scene before is simultaneously infuriating and hilarious. Some of the CGI is cheesy and bad, but I love it anyway. Some of the plot holes are pretty significant, but I just roll my eyes and go with it. And although some of the writing is predictable and some of the acting mediocre, the three main sisters are very good, very believable. We believe that Prue is the rock holding it all together. We believe that Piper wants nothing more than to fall in love and start a family. We believe that Phoebe is easygoing and up for adventure. Overall, it's been a lot of fun to watch this silly show. If you've never seen it, that's fine. But if you have seen it and want to talk more, get in touch. I don't know if it's going to hold up for 7 more seasons, but we'll see. And then we have this back page, which are pictures of not season 1. We have this one up top, which is Be Careful What You Wish For, season 2, episode 22. And the one on the bottom is Pre-Witch, season 3, episode 17. So. Oh, there's another season 3 picture in here, too. Like, there's Bright and Gloom. He has just random pictures that he found on the internet, I guess.
Yeah, probably just searching, getting what he can find.
Yeah. So how was that? How did that go for you?
So even though it was just a bunch of stuff, it's just a recap basically. But I really liked his tone. I had a lot of fun reading it, and it kind of hearing his analysis of like kind of falling in love with a show that you know isn't great, even though it is. Like, it made me think of X-Men. Like, I remember there was a time when my mom came over and we were like eating before we were going to go to a concert. And I turned on an episode of X-Men, the animated series from 92. And I was like, this show's so great. And she's like, it's so bad. Like, because it's so like overly dramatic. But like, I think we're okay with the show, like knowing it's cheesy, knowing it's over dramatic. If there's heart and love and the characters like can teach us something, we forgive a lot, which is Charmed and X-Men for us.
Absolutely. There's a lot more than the surface that you may not always see from just a few quick glances. So yeah, some real depth there for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did have a lot of fun reading this again because just his way of writing is just so like natural. It's like he's just saying what comes to his mind in the moment, and it's just really fun to hear this person like analyze it for the first time and like knowing that they don't know things and like kind of discovering things. It's just neat.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm not going to put that in my canonical hat section because I was saying it as we went, so we did all that already. And I'm not going to do a PS for poll because we are going to be taking a break after this episode.
Yes.
So let's just get into the what's next. So what's next? I'll show you this. Actually, I can show this on screen. So we are doing the complete DVD collection companion guides. It'll be like season 4C, magazines part 3. This was a UK DVD. This is like a pamphlet about the thing, but there's this, you can see like here there's this purple. There's like 59 discs, and you put them together, it makes this picture, which is kind of cute. I do have the DVDs and the magazines. I do have to laugh though because this part threw me off guard. It says, "Meet the Halliwell sisters: Prue, Piper, Phoebe, and Paige. 4 white witches fighting." Like, wait, white witches? What? But I get it. I was like, oh, like
Yeah.
good magic witches. Okay, I get
Yeah.
But yeah, fighting against the forces of darkness with every episode on DVD and accompanied by a fact-packed companion guide. This collection is a must for all Charmed fans. So we will be doing all of that when we return. This will be the closest thing to a rewatch that we do. And while we will be going over Charmed episodes in order, the focus will still be kind of on these print material. But Sean had an idea to cross-pollinate and revive an older podcast for this section. So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so Kevin and I are going to take time during the break to figure out exactly like how we want to do this, but being that we didn't get to ever fully complete the Charmed watch on Hanging with the Hollowells, we thought, well, why don't we put these episodes also with Hanging with the Hollowells somehow so we can officially square it out and go through the whole series?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was robbed of that.
Yeah.
No.
Right. Oh, what a choice of words. Yeah, so we do have a lot in terms to figure out, like the episode structure, just because of the new thing, but also because of the collaboration in the next phase. I'm thinking we'll probably take a month off just so we can get our bearings and figure out how the system will work. While we are on break, I do want to get that bonus episode of the Charmed porn done. So I hopefully I can squeeze that in there before we squeeze that in there. Yeah, before we start the next section. Yeah, so I'm on the lookout for that. I'm excited to see what our return will bring.
And we got Holly Marie Combs to come on the porn episode with them.
Oh,
That would be so awkward.
That would be super awkward. Because she is very conservative about those things too. She kind of brushes on the sex situation, but I can tell she gets kind of awkward about it. So yeah, no. So yeah, we will see when we return, Spellworders, for the porn episode and for the next section of this. So while we are on break, tell the people where they can find you, Sean.
Yeah, so how wonderful that just as we're going on break on this show, we're coming back on Solving for X. We're finally getting to Wolverine and the X-Men, which I am really excited to cover because I've only watched it once and I really loved it when I did watch it. So I'd love to pick the brains of Kevin and Ryan for anything that I've missed. And you can find that on solvingforxmen.com, or you can find me on Shawnee Havoc on Instagram.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Yes, you can find me at KJEEZY87 on my personal Instagram, or follow this podcast at Words of the Witches on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. All right, Spellworders. Thanks for listening. Your destiny still awaits.